This is a computer I received from my church. Specifically, the pastor, I mean, it's spelled pastor, but still. Anyway, specifically from the pastor of a neighboring church that is actually kind of run by us. It's a Dell Inspiron 530S. It's one of those small form factor machines, and I just now noticed the dot above the I on Inspiron is like rubbed off. I don't know, I don't think there is one, because it's like that on the other one as well. Okay. Anyway, has a multi-card reader. I'm going to replace that with a floppy disk drive. And an ultra-speed LG CD-ROM drive. It's not CD-ROM, it's actually DVD-RW. But I'm actually going to replace the DVD-RW drive as well, just simply because I want to. And the hard drive is dead in a very interesting way, and I'll show you what I mean by that here in a minute, before I replace it. I don't even... it hasn't been confirmed that I can have this yet, really. But, you know, I don't think they're going to use it anymore, so I'm going to go ahead and assume so. And if it can't, Dell computers are fairly easy to switch around the parts in, so I'll just put it back the way it was originally, and it won't be too hard. As you can see here, onboard graphics, which is good because I don't have one of those small form factor video cards. USB, Ethernet, and the sound card, which has a lot of plugins for such a cheap end computer. And a BezTech Power Electronics Corporation power supply. Yes, I just said that. BezTech Power Electronics Corporation. Because they make the worst power supplies ever, they shouldn't exist. They don't have any overvoltage protection circuits, so if it goes bang, your motherboard goes bang as well. And if there's a power surge, it goes bang. And of course, your motherboard goes bang as well. And there's a PCI modem, which I'm never going to use, but hey. Anyway, let's go ahead and crack the cover. This is not a fully toolless case. You still have to... There's still plenty of screws. It's actually more similar to their older 90s designs of computers. But... And it's not just riddled with green clips like the later machines were. And pull this up, which releases all these. And then we can pull this out. As you can see, I've worked on this a couple times before. As you can see, it has full-size PCI Express and it's PCI Express times 16 and PCI Express times 1. Neither of which can I actually use. I can't even use that other PCI slot because I don't have expansion cards with these teeny tiny brackets, which that's the size of it. And I don't actually have another computer in here for comparison. Well, actually, I do have an expansion card up here. Actually, just a video card. This is for scale. This is the bracket from that computer. Yeah. So, the computer is as small as it looks. It's very hard to get these back in, so humor me for a second. And not super duper hard, I guess. It's just, you have to be careful. There we go, that's back in. And there's the CPU fan with another fan coming off of it. I don't really know what the purpose of that is. There's the BezTech power supply. This one doesn't actually say BezTech Power Electronics Corporation on it. But ones that don't just have the BezTech logo plainly printed on them, they say that. What was I going to say? Oh yeah. The total power max, 250 watts. I kind of like that label. It's silly sounding. Anyway, there's the power supply fan right there. There's the Samsung spin point hard drive. Pretty sure that's a spin point. Doesn't actually seem to have a model code on it. But anyway, that is it. It is it's just very oddly dead. I don't really understand it. Here is the... Pretty sure it's an LG optical drive. I don't actually remember. It sounds like one. And the faceplate looks like one. There's a CMOS battery. A couple more SATA controllers. I don't really know what these are for. I guess you could cram 3 hard drives in here if you took up the 3.5-inch bay of it. Okay, Eli, I'll look at that later. Anyway, back to the computer. Now, really? Anyway. Okay. So, back to what I was saying. This computer has no IDE controller in it. They replaced the IDE controller with an extra 2 SATA ports that you can't really use correctly. And, of course, let's see here, I don't know. Oh yeah, an extra USB 2.0 controller right there that is completely pointless. And yes, I have a problem with this. If they had rearranged things, they could have fit an IDE controller on this board. As a matter of fact, it has a 3.5-inch floppy controller nestled underneath this optical drive next to the main power connector right there. Computers without IDE controllers really bug me. I'm just saying. Most of my hard drives are IDE. And the main reason it bugs me is because the only SATA hard drive I have laying around here is this 80 gig Hitachi Desk Star. These aren't bad drives, it's just really small. All my other SATA hard drives are notebook hard drives. There's some RAM right there. I don't actually know how much it is. And, yeah, I'll get to replacing parts later. And that'll be off camera. Don't worry about that. But, yeah, I mean, it bugs me. It really bugs me. Anyway, I don't really need to replace the optical drive. I don't know. But, you know. Okay, I'm going to be working on it anyway, and why not, right? Just because I have one that's actually faster than that, and I was going to stick it in there for now. Because faster is oftentimes better. Especially considering that I want to actually be able to use this thing today. And, yeah. Anyway. It's going to be hooked up right up there underneath that monitor, and I don't have the proper power supply yet. I did order one. So I'm still using the AT power supply. It works okay. And I'm going to hook up a Model M through that USB converter right there. Those USB converters are really kind of annoying. Because they have weird problems when you hold down multiple keys at once for some reason. But it'll work for something like this. I'm not going to be playing games on it or anything, so... And then there is something that I haven't seen all too often. And I can't see the camera's display. That right there is a Logitech optical tracking PS2 mouse. I haven't seen too many of those. But hey. So anyway, let's put it back together and I'll show you what I mean about the hard drive being dead in an odd way. It's fairly simple to get it back together. You just stick this thing back in, like you do with a lot of the older Dell computers as well. Like I said, this really does kind of match their design of their older systems. And then you put this door back on. I do like that the door has no clips, though. Oh yeah, and the faceplate you just pull off by pulling up those clips, but I won't go into that right now. And then we just screw the case screws back in. Come on. I hate this. I need 2 hands because this door is bent like oh so many computer doors are. Okay, there we go. Now, I'm going to go ahead and hook it up, and I'll show you what it does. Here it is all set up. This is not the way it's going to stay, though. I am going to put it under that monitor eventually, once I have everything worked on. Because for now, I'm just hooking it up right here so I can easily take it back down. Anyway, let's push the power button on the AT power supply to turn the monitor on. Nice fan whirring away there. No signal input. There we go. Oh man, that needs to be adjusted, but oh well, we'll worry about that later. Not a good sign. As you can see here, it froze. And yes, this particular system seems to use the Phoenix Award BIOS as opposed to the standard Dell BIOS, although it actually, that happened way faster than it normally does. It actually, like the screen blanked, like it's trying to boot up, as you can see. The hard drive indicator is on full time, which is never a good sign. And, as a matter of fact, I'm not waiting the amount of time that it usually takes for it to go into anything. Because I actually haven't let it go all the way into Windows. That'd take such a long time. But if we mash F12, boot menu, there we go. If we go down to utility partition, just watch. Also, you might be able to hear the hard drive. I don't know, it's a really quiet drive. Okay, look. We have loading. It's always a good sign. HiMem.sys version 8.09. See, it is very, very slowly loading. Oh yeah, and here's the optical drive in action. Yeah. And then, see, it's doing something. Don't know why it says unable to create directory. I don't really know what it's doing there. Hard drive indicator is still on full time as if the drive is dead. And it's not actually dead, as you can see here. It does eventually start up. It just takes a very, very long time. See, it's already been 3 minutes. This should have only taken like a minute at the most. Still making a weird clicking noise with the hard disk. And I don't really know that I'm going to let it go ahead and go into the GUI, but it does go there. I'm going to go ahead and push the power button. And kill the power to this. And we'll replace that hard drive and replace all the other parts. And I'll start installing Windows Vista on it. Yes, I'm actually going to use Vista. I actually like it, alright guys? I actually do like it. It never gave me problems, really. Just occasional weird glitches that Windows 7 didn't have. Because all of my Vista computers have had adequate hardware to run it, so... This one I don't think will be any different. It's a pretty late Vista computer, I'm pretty sure. Anyway... Well, for now, bye. That's not really going to be the end of the video. I'm just going to be gone for probably an hour or so. It's going to take me a while, I would guess. Well, guys, I had totally forgotten about this problem. This, screw hole on the floppy disk drive, you can't really tell through the little screw hole on this bay thingy, has been bashed in, so I can only rescrew one of the screws, since this side is just clips. So yeah, that's an interesting one. But it should work fine anyway, and for the record, if you want to see the faceplate off, there it is. Just get a proper viewing angle of it. More like semi-proper, it's not. It was a really interesting, unnatural position for me. And yes, the optical drive is Hitachi LG storage, data storage, sorry. DVD rewriter. And that is the front of the drive that you couldn't see before. So, changing hands. And that's the eject button, of course, in case you didn't know. Here is the multi-card reader out of the system. And that's its USB cable. Oh yes, this is internal USB cable. It plugs into the motherboard like that, so if you're wondering what that was. Floppy disk drive is right here, and I'm hoping this will actually work. It's missing a bunch of pins. That's just how these are built, but I don't actually have another floppy disk drive that isn't missing all of those. So, it's a bit of a problem. Hopefully it still works. I have very rarely had them not work. And the floppy disk drive power connector is right here. That's not a problem. The problem is the cable. The cable is the problem here. I'm actually probably going to have to get the one out of my Falcon Northwest frag box. Any other one will be too long and just not really fit right. Let's just go ahead and stick it in the bay and see. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, that is definitely... Yeah. Most cables aren't really going to work. So I'm going to have to get the one out of the frag box, which is in my closet. I'm pretty sure at the very top. I'll have to look. But yeah. Fun stuff. And there's the hard drive. I haven't replaced it yet. I should probably do that first. That's the thing that needs replacing, so. Alright, see you then. I actually went ahead and got all of the little bitty cables from my frag box. 2 IDE cables. One's a little longer than the other. And then the floppy cable, which was still almost too long. Which is just crazy. You can see it's a very, very interesting layout here. But it should work. And I actually decided not to replace the optical drive just yet, because until I've confirmed that I can actually have the computer, I'd rather not go to the trouble of taking the other one out of the computer it's currently in. And really the only reason I was going to do that in the first place is because, honestly, I figure I should have the better one in the computer that I'm actually going to use the burning feature on. So, this one, of course, can burn, but it's not as good as the other one. So we'll go ahead and shove it back in here. Just barely fits with that cable right there. It's kind of messed up. There we go. And then, SATA. I don't really know. They must have had some cable that you could have ordered with the system to have a floppy disk drive connected, or maybe you could just order the system with a floppy disk drive in it, factory. That would make sense, I guess. Either way, that's a fairly interesting way to solve it. And here's the hard drive in the system. There it is in all of its glory. Here is the old one. I'm gonna try to plug it into an external enclosure or something and see if it'll work in there. And I haven't tried any other hard drives in this, so for all I know, the SATA controller could be dead. But that would be very interesting if that was the case, because I've never seen that happen before. Anyway, we'll see if this actually works, and there is the floppy disk drive, by the way. It sticks out a little more than it really should, I feel like, but oh well. We should be good. Now I'll just put the computer back together and set it up underneath that monitor, and we'll be good to go. If anything's hooked up incorrectly, like the floppy disk drive or something, if it's not working quite right, I'm not really going to be too worried about it right now. I'll actually mess with that when I really care. So, anyway, that's really all for right now. It'll be a few minutes. And for the record, it only took like 20 minutes to get everything in there, so. Anyway, go ahead and put it back together and we'll be good to go. Here it is all set up, and as you can see, the keyboard and mouse situation is, we'll leave it at interesting. It'll probably be best if I use this for my extra space and actually make this desk where this computer goes. That would probably be the best idea, because then things would just, work like the way they're supposed to. Anyway, I haven't turned it on yet. We're gonna hope that it works. And turn the monitor on. Turn the computer on now. Never heard that new hard drive. Didn't do a floppy seek test, although it may not. No boot device available. Alright. So, that means something has worked. This hard drive does not have a system on it, so let's try to get into setup. Entering setup. Now we can do auto adjust on the setup screen. Or maybe we didn't need to. Maybe it's just that other screen that has problems. Standard CMOS features. Drive A 1.44 megabyte, 3.5 inch. That time is correct. I already went there. System info. And there you go. There's the system information. Has 2 gigs of RAM. Not too bad. PCI slot. Why would you use a PCI video card? It's probably not even as good as the integrated graphics card. SATA mode, IDE, or RAID. Does not support AHCI mode, although I guess the system's probably not 64-bit, so makes sense. Okay then. But yeah, as you can see here, this is a Dell computer and it says Phoenix Award BIOS CMOS setup utility at the top. It does not use the Dell BIOS. Save and exit, yes. See if it does a seek test now. There you go. I heard it try to boot from the floppy disk drive. Let's see if this MS-DOS disk still works. That probably doesn't, after all my messing around with the compact laptop. Oh wow. I'm not really going to install this, but that's, if anything, that is impressive after all the abuse this disk has gone through. Yeah, okay, yeah. To exit and correct the problem, press F3. Figured this problem would occur. We'll run fdisk. Not fdisk. Fdisk. Okay, delete. I'm assuming it's non-DOS, yeah. Delete. Continue. And then we also are going to reinitialize the MBR. Of course, it's going to make us restart first. Looks like we can actually close that door. I didn't struggle closing it, so it shouldn't mess with the floppy disk drive. Looks like it didn't. I've had computer cases that when you close the door on the floppy disk drive, it jacks up the floppy disk drive if there's a disk in it. Which is kind of stupid, but... There we go, welcome to setup, but we don't really want to run setup right now. We want to run fdisk again. Oops, not just run it. I don't know what I'm thinking. fdisk /mbr is what we want to do. It's in GPT right now, so there we go. That did it. It's going to eject that disk. I am really impressed that that disk still works, I must say. And turn the computer off, and I'll run and get my Windows Vista CD, DVD, whatever the heck it is. Anywho. So, I'll run and get my Windows Vista CD, and we'll see what happens after that. I still can't get over the fact that that floppy disk still works. I really didn't think it would. I guess the other two probably still work as well that I used in that drive. Anyway. Go ahead and go get my Windows Vista disk, and then we can continue this. I am back, and I brought some Cheez-Its with me. I'm not going to turn the monitor on yet, so we can hear that hard drive, since that fan for the power supply is so loud. Oh, that won't be the case when I finally get my proper power supply. We got free 2-day shipping, but we ordered it 2 days ago, which was Saturday, so that's the reason it's not here yet. Alright, go ahead and turn the monitor on. This is the restored disk for my dad's old computer, which was a CyberPower computer. It'd be funny to use this in a Dell computer, considering that they're like two completely opposite companies. CyberPower, there for a while, was actually kind of competing with Alienware, and now Alienware is nice manufactured computers. CyberPower, I'm pretty sure they just have people build them on an assembly line. So that's kind of funny. For some reason you have to reach in the door to reach the eject button on this. It's kind of a silly design. That made an interesting noise. There we go. Oh. Okay. I must auto-adjust. That was kind of funny. Alright. Alright, it would appear that for some reason the hard disk indicator is also working for the CD drive. For the optical drive, not CD drive. That's a new one. You can still kind of see the access light in there, and it is in perfect synchronization with this one. So that's kind of interesting. I apologize if you're like my dad, and you don't like hearing people chewing, but I just really wanted some Cheez-Its, so... Good old floppy disk drive right there. I don't know why, but like when I'm bored, I just fiddle with this floppy disk drive eject button. On a lot of computers, I do that. Oh. It's in an interesting spot. Alright. The monitor's not exactly in sync. Either that or it's just an impedance loop. Those weird ripples, those aren't because of the camera, those are in real life. So you auto adjust. Go ahead and turn the brightness down some and turn the contrast up. Or maybe we want to turn the contrast down some too. Yeah. That looks good, actually. Alright, let's get started. I'm going to put the camera down for this part, because we don't want the copyright police coming after us. Dang, it's hard to see this. You know, I probably should have just stopped the recording, but it won't be too long. I'll just say that's invalid or something stupid. Okay. Alright. I will push enter. And then... there we go. New. Use the whole disk. Why not, right? Go on. I like the Windows Vista setup. It doesn't ask you too many questions, unlike the Windows XP setup. Why in the world does Windows randomly decide it needs to access the disk? I don't understand that. Anyway, during this part, I'm going to kill the power to this so I don't stress that power supply too much. Yeah. Well, that's all for now. It's going to be a while and no reason to keep recording. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.